Hey guys, and welcome to Pheas Software. Today I'm going to be doing a disassembly of this KWA Original Scarlet AR-47. Hey guys, and welcome back. If you do enjoy this content today, please do consider liking, commenting and subscribing, because those interactions help the channel get seen by the algorithms and help the channel grow. You want to support the channel a little bit more, my socials are linked in the link tree down below, including my Discord. And if you want to really support the channel, the join button should be down below. It will take you to channel memberships, 99p a month or equivalent in your country, custom videos, custom giveaways, your own private chat section on my Discord. Totally optional, massively appreciated though. So today then, we're going to continue our video series on this KWA Originals AR-47, in which we're going to do a disassembly of it. Now, some of this I'm not going to do because this isn't mine. So, for example, the rail unit we looked at with the E4. So you're just looking at taking out the 4 hex bolts and the rail unit will come off. In terms of the muzzle brake, you've just got a little grub screw in there that is a T6 size bolt, Torx 6 bolt. And that will then unscrew in the opposite direction to what you would normally expect because it's a negative thread. What we will do though is look at disassembling the rest of it and getting into there as well. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the front body pin, and then I'm going to remove this back screw as well. So I've got a Torx 10. Now these are technically hex head screws, but I find that the Torx heads just bite and keep in better and don't round off and don't round out the bolts so easily. So I use a T10, Torx 10, and then I've just used a thin screwdriver to push down into there. What I don't want to do is push on the threads themselves because I don't want to damage the threads in there. So I'm just going to get that out of the way. I want to keep that together. Again, make sure you keep the screws in the right place in order so you've got them for later. What I'm also going to do is push the stock button in, take the stock pulley out, take the battery cap off, and we'll come back to that shortly. And then we've got a little screw in here. Now that T8, Torx 8, has got that from it. Now there is a washer on that, little silver washer on that, so please make sure that you keep that on it. And then at that point then, didn't even need to remove that one, silly Pheas. So I'm just going to gently pull that off. There it goes. There is our hop and barrel assembly. The dust cover is actually part of the gearbox, not internal to here. So let's have a look down. I'll turn the hop on. The barrel, despite being played, is still spotlessly clean. I'll turn the hop all the way on. Right, so they are still using that hop rubber with a split in the tensioner at the top. Look, can you see there's a little split just there? Look, there's a little split. Now it looks exactly the same as the old type, but it must not be because it's performing significantly better, or they're working some sort of voodoo that I am not aware of, but they're doing a good job of it. So that just goes back into the body and slides in from the back into the outer barrel, and then it goes, and it should be nice and springy, keeping it on that barrel spring. That's out of the way. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the Phillips head screw that is in here. So there we've got a screw with a washer on this retaining plate that sits in like that in that orientation. This battery compartment then just slides off. There we go. Be careful not to damage your wiring if you can avoid it. There we go. The fuse holder is popping up and then it just clips back shut. It is an auto type fuse, and the one that's in it is a 25 amp fuse. So just close that back up, and then to get the spring out, we just push and quarter turn, and there comes our standard AEG spring and spring guide. This is also your VPS system, so when you push the tool in and you unwind it or unscrew it, what you're doing is basically extending this system out. So this all expands to put the spring under more compression, to add more, to put the FPS up, and as you unscrew it, it will compress it back down again to remove the FPS compression need. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the two little screws out here and here, hoping, no, we're going to have to go smaller than a T6, damn. So I've got a T5, and that is doing the job perfectly. So now the reason we're doing this, there it is, look, and then one more. The reason we're doing this is because we need to get, there we go, this back part drops away then. There we go, so this back part drops away, and that means then that this assembly can come off. Now, you should be able to see down here, this plate sits behind this screw. That's exactly how it should be, and that keeps it nice and healthy. In fact, it's behind two different screws there. That is exactly how we want it. So we're just going to pull this little C-clip forward, and this rod then get a flat head to do it, a little flat head. So I'm going to pull it, pop it like that, and there we go. It just popped up and out, and that is exactly what we want, it out of the way, because these screws then become accessible. We've already removed this screw here. I'm guessing we need to be back to the T10 again. Well, we're back here. I'm going to remove this screw as well. There we go, it's clicking. There is a washer on that one as well. Make sure you got hold of that. Next, we're going to go for the end of the pistol grip. T10 is too big. Is T8 going to do the job here? Yeah, T8. T8 in the front screw. Apologies if this keeps going off camera, I'm leaning over awkwardly. T8 in the back as well. So even that's been redesigned, because that used to be a smaller fit in that one in the back of the pistol grip. There is our end cap. Let's pop these motor wires off. One. So just in case you're wondering, the red is coming up the front and round, and the red terminals at the back. The black is coming up the front on this side and going over onto the black terminal at the front. The black wire actually comes in at the back of the pistol grip, comes forward, up, and then onto its contact. The red comes up at the front, round, and onto the terminal at the back. So next then, we're going to remove the two pistol grips screws in here. Can't remember if I need to remove those. I think I do. There's the two Phillips head screws. There's only two places that they can go, which is this corner here and this corner here in the bottom there. Can't remember for the life of me if I have to take this off. Let's take it off anyway, just touch big. So Torx 15 fits in there. and that's one taken out. There's the other taken out, and its little spacer again with the it's got an angled edge on it. There we go, the angled edge. So one's flat, one surface is flat, the other is sort of rounded off on the edge. The rounded edge goes down and in. Put that there. That does then just come straight off. So I don't know if that was necessarily needed to be done. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to hold that down out the way. Careful not to mash it too much. There we go. And I'm going to unscrew. That's all I did, was held this down into that bottom corner there whilst I unscrewed this, put that out of the way. And then all that should be left is just this body pin here. It should just come out. Take that off camera. Now it will only come out one way because on this side it's got like a head to it. So the head needs to be at this side. So put that down and I can feel that the gearbox is wobbling. So we are good. Piston had come all the way back and out, so we're just going to pop that in and it just literally lifts up and out. I'm just going to fold the wire in and the wire in. So let's get that out of there first. That comes out of there. I'm going to carefully not drag the wire in down there. One. And two. That's out of the way. If this comes up and out, there is a little spring underneath there which sits into this gap here, so you just need to readjust it. Now the one thing I will say, which I've discovered with my own RM47, is that these are not, because they're so thin, it's not the strongest of metal, so it will ease, it can. I snapped this one off on mine, it caught on some webbing and I didn't realise, and I tugged a bit too hard and it went see ya and was gone. So next we need back to the Torx 10 again, I believe, and we're just going to remove the 4 screws across the top. 1, 2, 3, 4 screws around the gearbox body, and then we're in. 1. Now they all have little washers on, make sure that you retain all those little washers. Sometimes they might stay in the hole, so you just gouge them out with your screwdriver. Again, make sure you keep the screws in order. Now I know that these are all the same sizes across the top, so it's not too bad. Another one. One. It's already got its washer on. 2. The beauty is here, because the spring's already out, there's no need to obviously mess about trying to keep it under compression or anything, because there's no compression. So pop that, pop that. So we're just going to pop that open. There is our very standard looking KWA gearbox. Nice, really strong, rock solid gear set. Really good. Shouldn't have any issues. Traditional trigger block, and then obviously the only thing that you need to possibly watch out for is the piston. Potentially might need replacing, just because it is plastic, so it may eventually sort of just wear down and get broken. Let's just do a quick check on the compression quality in there. just like all the KWAs, absolutely no compression. But something must be working well because it is consistent. You know, it's like through sort of 3 FPS variants on the chrono. So, you know, something is working pretty damn well. Just not when I'm doing that test for some reason. So all I was doing is just putting my finger over the end of the nozzle of the cylinder head and pushing the piston in. If it was good compression, the piston should only go so far and then should just lock up with the air pressure in there, meaning you got good compression. Obviously there's not, but when the FPS is as good as it is, can't really complain, can you, I suppose? So let's go for reassembly then. So let's drop this back in. What I'm going to make sure I do is not get the KWA sticker stuck inside the box. There we go. In fact, just remove it for now. There we go. Move the sides about a little bit just until all the gears have dropped back into place and the anti-reversal latch. Nice and solid. Now I'm going to do the screws. I was going to cut the video here, but do you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity to do a little mini shout out to the current channel members, or pheasants as they are known on the Discord. Thank you to these guys who pay month in, month out to support the channel, get a little bit more direction and say in how the channel goes, and you know, some of the stuff I pick up and get on the channel and what have you, and even sometimes the you know, which video I release that week and stuff. If it is something you're interested in, you know, channel membership button, the join button is down below, 99p a month, totally optional, but really, really, really appreciated. So the gearbox is back together now. So we're going to get it back into the lower receiver and secure it in. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to feed the motor wires back in. So the black wire is going to go in this hole here. The red wire is going to go in this hole here. And to be fair, it's when you're putting them in, it's kind of obvious where they're going. Finally, thank the Lord. Right, let's not jinx it too much. Let's get that power cable in there. So I'll be honest, that's probably one of the hardest bits of the disassembly or reassembly, is just getting those bloody cables back in. So I'm just going to drop that back in. Now, key point here when we're doing this, make sure that your selector is in the right place. So my selector's pointing to safe. We've got these 3 light little square shapes here. Drop it in. The little tab there is part of the selector, is on the safe. Now it's on the semi. Now it's on the auto. Make sure that yours matches, otherwise when you pull the trigger it's not going to work properly and then you'll wonder why, and that will be why. Okay, so next one, pin in there, back through again, securing that down. Next thing we'll do is we'll bring in this back bit. Again, I'm just holding that wire down and out of the way. There we go. It will tighten up past where it should be, so you need to loosen it back out again. And then I'm going to drop this back in, because this helps to centralize it and lock it in position. So I'm just going to feed the wiring through like that, drop that in to place, perfect. And then these can come back in again. I'm using the rounded edge, is going inside to the body. Secure that down. QD point. Into the body. Perfect. Drop that out. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to secure this screw back into the back of the gearbox. Tighten that down. Be sure I need the 10, not the 8. Silly Pheas. That's what I needed. That's him. Next thing then, I'm going to bring the pistol grip screws back in. Now this has potentially another pain bit where I'm going to delicately balance them on the end, and that's what's going to happen repeatedly. Let's get a longer, slightly more magnetic screwdriver, because they're a godsend, and try again. That's one. Go backwards until you get the click, and then forward into the grips, and then the next one. If you can hear any noises in the background, that is Pheas Jr. sat playing on his PS5 with his mates. So I apologise if you can hear him and he's grunting. So at this point, the red wire stays at that side. The black wire is going to come forward and up, and yeah. When they're coming up, there's like this, where this screw is, there's like a little post there. The black should come up this side, the red should be coming up the other side of it, just to make sure, and we'll do that now. So there's the motor, red to the back, black to the front. So I'm going to put the black wire onto the black terminal, the red wire is going to go onto the red terminal, obviously, and then I'm going to coil it up because it needs coiling up and down into there to help it stay out of the way. We're going to bring the end cap back in. There we go. Now what all I do, make sure this should spring easily up and down like that. There shouldn't be any real force needed to do that. If something's blocking it, it means that one of those wires is in the way, so you need to just adjust the wiring until it clicks back down again. That one. And this one. Like that. That's pistol grip on. Next thing we can do is we can bring in the battery compartment and stock. So feed our wiring in fact, nearly. Let's put our spring in, spring guide, it goes in, quarter turn, and it should be squared up like that. The stock assembly then goes on, and then we bring this in. Now what I find helps is if I hold it like that and I lower it down with my finger, drop it into place, and it should sit securely in place. There's like sort of retaining sort of notches and things to help it all stay in place, and then I just secure it down. Get that out of the way. Last thing we've got to do up here then is we're going to put this back in. We're going to put it back under those two screws again, making sure it's nice and safe. This rod is going to jump about and be the bane of my existence. I'm just going to, there we go. Oops. So it does need to go in at the front first, then bring the plate back. There we go. Got it in, there we go. So I got the rod in at the front first, then push this plate under those two screws like that, and then push it in at the back there, and then I'm going to bring this little plate back in here, which is going to sit against there. Oops, and I need that T6 back in here for this bit. Yep. That's all done. Next we'll bring the upper in, just gently making sure not to catch and damage anything as it goes in. There we go. Just going to line the hop back up. The hop will self-centralise, then it just slides back nicely into place. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put that back pin in there. And then secure that back in. Tighten that down in a second, and then bring the other one in and tighten that down in there. Apologies again if some of that's gone off the camera, because I'm leaning right over desk. So there it is. We can put our battery, once we stop throwing our battery compartment about, the battery compartment go back on, the stock can go back out. So hopefully you found that useful. I've quite enjoyed that, quite easy to work on and get into pieces, and obviously for repair and maintenance. Please do remember to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.